I had to take a step back from posting YouTube videos because I started to begin to feel unqualified to be giving men dating advice. I still felt confused. I felt like I was delivering aspects of the truth, but not the entire truth. And I was still disheartened that I didn't know what the truth was. I couldn't understand why modern dating, in quotes, is so hard. And I couldn't understand why somebody such as myself that prides themselves on being observant about other people and gets lost in my own mind sometimes, I couldn't understand why I still felt unhappy in my own dating life. And I couldn't admit to myself that I myself was still self-isolating and still struggling internally. And I experienced another rejection, and this one kind of broke me. And I started to go to therapy. This was about 4 months ago. And I had to ask somebody for help. I was out here giving people advice without ever asking for help for myself because that's how scared I was of the truth of being honest with somebody, because I felt so much shame within my own soul for, I know that sounds dramatic, but it's just, I felt so much shame. I felt like all my friendships, my relationships, they just felt so empty and so depleting, and I couldn't figure out why. I had tried so hard. I thought that this was my moment, right? I'm sure a lot of us have been there with dating, that we think, we put in the work, that this is our time, and we get so excited about finally being chosen, finally being accepted by somebody else, and then it just doesn't work out and it falls through the cracks. And then you're like, I've been alone for 20, 40, 30, however old you are, plus years, and I still can't make it work, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with society. Why do I feel so broken? Why do I feel so rejected by society? Am I even capable of being a part of society? I don't know. I know I'm kind of getting lost in the Taco Bell sauce here with my language. It's been a long time since I've posted a video, so thank you for being patient with me. But what I wanted to say basically was, there is no self-improvement without self-acceptance, and a lot of us internally battle with accepting who we are in the parts of ourselves that we hate the most, the parts of ourselves that binges food, the parts of ourselves that doesn't eat healthy, the parts of ourselves that stays up late playing video games, the parts of ourselves that hates socializing, the parts of ourselves that is scared, emotional, lost and confused. These parts of ourselves, there's no improving them until you first accept them. And I didn't know this for myself. I couldn't understand why I kept falling back into the routine of self-sabotage. I knew I deserved love, but yet I couldn't understand why everything I tried would just fall through the cracks. And I wasn't experiencing intimacy because I was scared. Physical intimacy and physical touch. People ask me all the time, why do I do this YouTube channel? Why do I help men? It's because I know what it's like to be so in your head about your body and not being able to love it. I know what it's like to spend many nights alone, being so internally hard on yourself for not being superhuman and not being perfect. And that's exactly what's happening now in society today. We don't know how to love ourselves anymore, and we're not even aware of how much we lost the love for our own very vulnerable existence. If you had parents that were physically there but emotionally unavailable, this is the reason why your dating life and your loneliness exists. I'm going to say that one more time. If you had parents that were physically there but emotionally unavailable, some of you aren't even aware of this yet, but that was you as well. For those of you who experienced that, this is part of the reason why your dating life is in shambles. Because when you were a young, vulnerable consciousness, nobody loved you in the way that you deserved to be loved. And they were emotionally drawn back from you because they themselves didn't know how to love themselves enough to appreciate you. And this is why you're struggling. You're not an unlovable person. You're not a rejectable person. You're not somebody with a crown of bad luck that keeps getting rejected. You are just a person who, unfortunately, most likely had parents that were distracted and focused on something else. The reason you're experiencing rejection now is not because you're not lovable to women. It's because you're not acceptable to yourself, all the parts of yourself. You're experiencing your reality. You can't block it off. If you're going through addiction struggles, self-hatred, inner turmoil, there's a need to not feel guilty and know that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault you're alone. It's not your fault society doesn't know how to properly support you. It's not your fault. But it is your responsibility to make the change.